We are rolling here with Barn Burner on a Friday, a chilly Friday.
Tropical Friday.
Is it officially fall? Is it autumn? Autumn now?
I don't know about officially. I feel like we have to hit some sort of an equinox to get there, don't we?
Have we hit an equinox? Does anybody
Jack,
know?
can I get an equinox update, please?
Jack, if you could look into the equinox situation, that'd be great. Welcome to the Tower Chrysler Studios. Tower Chrysler, voted by you, Consumer Choice Award winner, favorite Dodge Chrysler Ram Jeep dealer in Southern Alberta. Look at who we've got here.
Oh my goodness.
It's a little hot.
He doesn't need two lights. He needs one light. The camera's always hot.
Yeah,
Just twist that guy. We'll use that light here.
It's all right. It's all right.
Boom,
Look
boom.
who it is. It's our insider from Philadelphia Freedom for Frank
South
Seravalli.
Philadelphia, born and raised.
That's right.
Yeah.
Playground is where he spent most of his days. How you doing, Frankie boy, in Alberta?
I'm good.
The Western Canadian Tour.
It was a bit nipply this morning.
That's right.
So how often do you get up here? Because you were here about a year ago, right? Didn't you come out
No,
for
January, Jasper.
just hang on.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
You came out about a year ago,
Hmm.
and then you were out for the pond hockey.
Mhm.
Do you come? Is it
A
like
couple times a year.
Yeah.
I make it out here.
Well, in Battle of
I
Alberta,
mean, it's right around the corner.
we ever
So
get one of those again, right?
Hmm.
In the playoffs,
Yeah.
I was here for that.
right?
You were
So
here for
if,
that.
if the Flames just held up their end of the bargain, he probably would have made another trip. In
I
the spring.
visited you guys once at your previous stop.
That's right.
I don't have any memory of that.
Yeah. Yeah. How does it compare, the old stop to this stop?
It's more spacious here,
Is it?
but
Our bar is better stocked here. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I did get pindered last night.
You got pindered last night. It happens. Happens to the best of them. How did it happen, though?
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, because by now you know what it's about. Yet you fell into the crevasse that is being pindered.
You saw
How
it
did
coming.
happen?
He was in denial too.
The
It was beautiful.
crevasse.
Right into the crevasse that is Pinder.
Yeah, it's a vortex that's unavoidable. I would
Mhm.
say
Well,
you can do your best. Like at pond hockey, I really tried hard because there's really nothing worse than playing hockey hungover.
did you try hard? Because I saw a lot of wine being consumed. It didn't seem like you were putting up that big of a fight.
I was a good boy. I
Uh-huh.
went to bed early and got my rest and
Yeah.
hydrated properly. Ordered a late night cheese wheel one night.
Were
Yeah.
you involved in the high kicking in the lobby, or did you miss that? Because I don't know if you.
I saw it,
Yeah, so you kind of got pindered in Jasper.
but I just couldn't participate.
Well, hammies. I mean,
Not all of us are built for the high kicking extravaganza.
He's one of a kind.
He is one of a kind. So
we had a little baseball, a little Thursday night, then a little brewery, then a little cocktail bars.
Oh,
Nice
last night,
little
yeah,
tour last night.
And then like 3 tequila sodas too many.
Oh, too many?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
really, eh?
That's my go-to. Dean went to Mexico in August, and he's like, my thing is just all the ice, vodka, and a little bit of bubbly water.
Just some soda water, yeah.
The
I'm
problem
the same with
was
tequila and a lime.
young Tyler Yaremchuk,
The young buck, yeah.
as we went to the last stop of the night, unfortunately made the mistake of giving Pinder dealer's choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what do you guys want? I'll buy this round. Oh, dealer's choice. Okay, you're getting tequila sodas.
Oh.
And we knew the bartender. He was very heavy hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a club pour.
It's unfortunate. Yeah. It's always everybody else's fault. It's Pinder, it's the bartender, it's
My
whatever.
janky liver.
Yeah. So you've done a Western swing. Will it take you to Winnipeg?
No.
Oh,
Well done.
okay.
Yeah, we're avoiding that part.
Yeah. So daily face off, Vancouver, Edmonton, now Calgary, and then back to Philadelphia to the home office. What can you tell us? What have you learned in the last 2 or 3 days here in Western Canada?
Yeah.
You want to start with the Flames? Or do you want to go?
Let's go chronological because you started Vancouver, I believe.
I did. The vibe is totally different in all 3 stops. And in Vancouver, I feel like what they're feeling now, there's a very similar vibe to last year with the Calgary Flames.
Puckering, Dean, was the word that I used.
Like a turning of the page,
Tight.
or
More,
tight.
yeah, a little tighter.
Mm.
They know they need to have a good year. They know they need to win, try and win.
And that kind of surprised me. Frank said this last night because it's year one of Talk It. Like, he took over mid-season. It's not like, this fresh start. It's like already the intensity and the pressure is cranked.
And Alvin's still relatively new, right?
Yeah.
There's still some shine on
And
him.
that's kind of why it's a bit surprising, isn't it?
Well, I think it always starts at the top down.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years. The fan base is antsy. The owner is antsy.
So excluding the bubble, it's been 10 years since they've been in the playoffs.
I mean, it's been 10 years since they've really gotten it together.
Yeah.
At least.
Okay.
It's kind of been the same thing over and over again.
Where are they at now with the Horvat departure, JT Miller? I think at the time it was hot and cold.
I think he
was the guy.
Fair way to describe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to camp the other day and someone's wearing 53, so that probably gives you an indication of how they felt it ended.
Yeah.
How do they like Hronek? Because that's what they use that pick to turn into. And that D core, all of a sudden, we talked about last night, like that's a better looking blue line than they've had in years.
Vastly improved. I think, last year they're asking kids to play in positions that they had no business being in.
Like Ethan Bear, top pair.
Exactly. Jack Rathbone playing whatever. Mm-hmm. We're talking about guys that are fringe NHL players being asked to routinely play in your top six. Like that's hard. Now they've got Hronek for a full season.
Yeah.
Ian Cole they signed, who I think is going to be tremendous. He's got a personal 9-year playoff streak, won 2 Stanley Cups.
It's like the Russell Martin thing. You bring in the guy that always makes the playoffs.
And then Carson Soucy. So
the Seattle defender was a big free agent guy, right? Yeah.
Like emphasis literally on big.
Yeah.
So I think they could be pretty good.
The goalie bounce back the biggest thing there, or the coach? What, like if there's a turnaround, what do you attribute to more than anything else?
The goalie part's going to be enormous. Demko was hurt last year, actually acknowledged in an interview that's dropping on Frankly Speaking today that he completely tore his groin last year and finally had to sit out. You can directly correlate his numbers to his health. At any point that they've dropped in his career, he's then missed time due to injury. Mm-hmm. He came back March and April, finished the season .920. He's that good.
Yeah.
And he's my preseason Vezina pick.
What's your read on Tocchet? Coaches in Arizona, leaves, and then it's mothballs. He's gone for a long time, then comes back here. Is it just he's on TV again? We remember, Rick Tocchet, then he's back in. I was always surprised that in all that stuff that happened in Philly, that he didn't end up there being a Flyer great and all of that. I just felt like he would be that mentality and that brand, that image of what it is to be a Flyer. I just wondered, did he get better during his? Is he smarter? Is he a better coach than he was before?
I think he was good I think he was good then.
Yeah, and it's hard when you're a Coyotes coach because
they made the playoffs one year.
If you're judged only by success, it's a tough measuring stick.
Was he there when they went to the bubble?
Yeah,
didn't have per diem for players. That was his team
when their GM left before the bubble. Yeah,
yeah.
Something he was there.
Functional.
Can you imagine? Like he goes, we can't get post game shakes for our players, like nutritional shakes. That's the type of, it's like, it reminds you of Major League when they get sent to the prop plane.
It's the new owner. And like, no, the owner's great. Trust the league. We love this guy. And then like, the city of Glendale is ending and terminating the relationship. They're going to have an empty building rather than deal with the Coyotes.
They literally got kicked out of their own rink.
Yes. Rather than deal with these guys and take their millions, go away.
Are there any stewardesses on this flight? I hope there's some pilots.
Oh my God.
Something like that. Yeah. So how
I watched Major League a few weeks ago and it's tremendous. It's so good. Yeah. I introduced my 9-year-old to it and there were many, many questions after that, but I felt like that was a good sort of entree into the, language and scene. And he's like, Dad, why do they keep ripping off stuff on this woman?
Yeah, that's right.
The owner, that's right. Speaking of language, Frank took his kid to the first Eagles game of his life. And your son's 9, you said?
9, yeah.
So Philly fans.
I said to him, Bud, you're going to hear some things that you've never heard before. First order of business is to never talk about this again.
Right.
Second, try not to ask too many questions.
Dad, I only hear this when you're at home alone and mom's not around.
There was a guy behind us. The Eagles were up 20 in the second quarter, just giving it to Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And it was no bueno.
Kirk Cousins SDs, I think it was something like that.
Yeah. But my son didn't interpret it that way. So
he heard different words.
Yeah, he heard different words.
Something different.
Yeah.
Are they nervous in Vancouver over Elias Pettersson?
The market is nervous. Yeah. The team isn't.
Walk us through that.
Well, I think the easiest way to explain it is
Being that he's an impending UFA, I guess, for
Well,
He's
he's
an
a-
impending
yeah.
RFA.
or RFA for people who are.
So we talked about this last night, actually, that because Pinder goes, well, he's walking into the Kachuk situation.
I just meant sort of like contractually. Kachuk leaves. He was an R that summer, right? And then it was
He forced his way
a
out.
year away from you. I'm not going to re-sign, and they do the sign and trade, and that contractually is where Pedersen is. I believe he's a 1-year deal and a QO away from just being a free agent. So they can negotiate. And he's like, look, if I don't like it, I'll just take my QO and be a UFA.
He did force himself out, right? It was not. Oh, so you mean at the end of this year? That's crazy. I had no idea.
No, 100%.
It was very much by design.
He used leverage that no one really has before.
Yeah, and so that's where Pedersen is. You just don't think he's interested in using it that way.
I think he actually likes it.
Yeah.
And unlike being an American, like it doesn't really, you can't.
There's no team in Stockholm for him to ask to go and move to.
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
But if they keep playing games there, maybe. So I think when he's put himself in a spot after a 102-point season to level up,
Yeah.
you go and do that again, and you're talking about a totally different pay bracket.
10, 11, 12.
You're talking 11-5. You're talking David Pasternak, that world. And I think the Canucks, the reason he's not signed is not because he doesn't want to be there. It's because they haven't put the deal on the table that he likes.
Are they convinced he is that Pasternak level player?
I think they want to see it again.
Yeah.
They're not going to say that part out loud.
Of course, yeah.
But I think that's the truth.
He's their leader, though, too, isn't he? I know that Quinn got the captaincy, but like that's the guy. If he's right, they're good. Like when he wasn't right and was playing on the fourth line, I think it was at the end of Travis Green's reign, like they were awful. When they got him back to being Pedersen, it was like, oh yeah, they're winning games again.
I'm not sure he's their leader, though.
Okay.
I think Quinn Hughes actually is that. And I think JT Miller has some of that. Pedersen's quiet.
Yeah.
Very quiet. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong. He's part of the leadership core. I just don't think he was ever really suited to be the guy.
Yeah.
What is the JT Miller thing? Why were some fans keep Horvat, move on from Miller? Was it just contract stuff, what you could get in a trade? Or is there something about his personality, his mentality, the way he is that rubs people the wrong way? Or is he a bit misunderstood? Because some guys, they take that passion and they care so much. It's just they can't channel it the right way. And then it comes off as being bitter or whatever the case is.
I think it's all of those things. And I don't think it was overplayed. I think he's an edgy guy.
He is.
Polarizing?
I don't know if I don't think polarizing's fair. I think he just has an edge to him that you either like or.
Because it didn't work in Tampa, and that surprised me. They paid assets to get him.
Well, it didn't work in Tampa because they didn't have the cap space.
But they played him down the lineup after like he was top 6 for a while, and then it was just like he was a fourth liner. I'm like, why is he there? And then he comes to Vancouver. Like, oh yeah, there it is.
90+ point season.
Yeah.
He's really good. They don't like the contract though either.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of the marketplace, if I'm interpreting it correctly, is they saw it as Miller or Horvat, and they didn't like that the team picked Miller over Horvat. And then Horvat didn't like that they picked Miller over Horvat, and that's how it
Their
unraveled.
captain.
That's how it unraveled.
Didn't work for Horvat in New York immediately either.
No.
Wasn't a great fit. Is it a great fit now? Will it be a fit moving forward?
The Islanders can't score, so
It's him and
theoretically he
Mhm.
should help that. But I don't think the Islanders make the playoffs this year.
Rosa. I like their goalie.
They
Yeah.
might because of that only.
Yeah.
It's a Lou team, right? It's
Isn't it?
very
Yeah, it feels like the
very
Devils, doesn't it?
Lou
Veteran
team.
goalie.
Yeah.
A lot of the same elements.
Yeah. They're gonna have to win very much the same way. Except the Lou teams in New Jersey were very successful.
3 Stanley Cups.
Yeah. So then you move on from Vancouver to Edmonton,
Mhm.
where the mood, I'm guessing, is
It's go time.
ecstatic.
I don't know if there's more boring offseason in the league than what Edmonton's had. Like, what are you actually talking about? This
That
team-
actually made the conversations with Ken Holland and Jay Woodcroft kind of interesting. It's like, well, what do you ask?
Like, it's basically a reload with one guy added.
That's not all that different than here, though.
Right. But last year,
The regime change, right?
yeah.
In Edmonton, it's how do you not let the pressure of these expectations overwhelm you. That's really the name of the game this season. You can win the Stanley Cup in October or November, but you can damn sure lose it.
Huh.
Yeah. Do you like what, and again, it hasn't been a lot. Their goaltending is set. They bring in Connor Brown. I said it on the show the other day. McDavid maybe looks faster, if that's possible.
Scary.
I saw that clip the other day.
The
Jesus
preseason
Christ.
game, he's like at 70%.
God almighty. How does,
I said that to the Flames guys yesterday, and they were like, oh man, we got to see that guy.
and it's not easy to win the cup, obviously, but for the Oilers, that's just win the division, meeting somewhere in that neighborhood, those expectations. If they don't get there, what is it that has failed them? Defense? I can't imagine
It's got to be goaltending.
It's got to. Is it still the goaltending?
That's their one and only question mark for me. I think their defense is, if you're ranking all 32 top to bottom, they're probably like number 12.
Really?
10? You don't think they're that good?
No. I mean, I don't.
I'm talking 1 to 6, not star or.
I thought Nurse had a really miserable season. He's probably best suited on a second pair. He's not. Bouchard looks like an explosive power play weapon, but what is he, 5-on-5? Like, they're missing a star defenseman, aren't they?
Let me just go pluck one off a tree for you.
And I thought Ekholm was a really big ad and important, but like that's still, to me, it's the defense and goaltending that doesn't stack up against all the teams they're going to play in a conference final.
I think you have your Oiler goggles on a little bit, though. I mean, would this be Bouchard's first or second full season? Like, he's still emerging, he's developing. Darnell Nurse is Darnell Nurse. The cap hit really impacts, I think, how people see him. And yes, is he often playing too high? Yeah. Probably, yeah. But it doesn't mean he's not an effective NHL defenseman. I think Ekholm,
he was great at,
changes a lot there.
Linchpin.
Yeah. I just sort of think, like, if they're going to lose, which is how you started this, it's that they're running into teams that have better decors. And I think Colorado does, and I think Dallas does, and I think Vegas showed they did last year. And also all those three teams, I would argue, have better goaltending, with maybe a question mark beside Colorado.
Yeah, but what do the Edmonton Oilers have that none of those teams do?
No one's going to say, geez, like the two stars on the other team outplayed McDavid and Draisaitl. That's why we lost. We're asking why it wouldn't work, and why it wouldn't work for me.
It's goaltending. Yeah. It's not it's goaltending.
Okay.
But they do go hand in hand.
Yeah. Like, if you drop one of those Oiler goalies into that Vegas roster, I think they still win, right? Like, that system is just so good.
And the Oilers are changing their system. Jay Woodcroft is going to zone D, which is... I was asking Ryan Huska about it yesterday because they're also making some tweaks, and he goes, let's be honest, this is a copycat league. Everyone saw what Vegas was doing, what they accomplished. Didn't really seem like it mattered who was in net.
Yeah.
And that's not slighting Aiden Hill and the run that he went on. It's just that might be the reality there.
If it was Brossoit or Logan Thompson, they might have still won.
They had all the same results.
Yeah.
It was like sub one guy out. They won 4 games in a row with 4 different goalies at one point.
And when we sat here a year ago talking about Vegas, their goaltending was probably that was the Achilles heel. Now, granted, they were coming off a year where they didn't make it, but still, it's where's the weakness? Well, it's the goaltending. They don't have Logan Thompson and all that. So that's why I wonder about with Edmonton, when you look at the goaltending, it's Skinner or Campbell. Aiden Hill just won a cup. Yeah. And it sounds disrespectful to him because I guess not everybody can do it, but it kind of feels like if he could, then a lot of goalies could. Why not Stuart Skinner? Where does Stuart Skinner end and Aiden Hill begin? You know what I mean?
Stuart Skinner is better than Aiden Hill.
It's that system that Vegas, we don't appreciate, with how tenacious and fast, and they just come at you all the time. It's just a steady game that they play. I don't know that I see that with the Oilers.
Not yet.
That's what they're working on.
Yeah.
So
I think they're also, what's scary for everyone else is you could see for the first time that last year really crushed them.
Yeah, like they felt like they left one on the table there.
Oh, when you saw Draisaitl after that series ended, and I asked him about it this week, like that was when I was like, you got something. Yeah, not to say they're not unbelievable players, and not to say that they didn't care before, but when they were gutted like that, you can't fake that. And that's some serious motivation. And I just think at some point, Connor McDavid's just not going to be denied. You're not going to be able to.
If they don't win a cup with him, that'll be one of the greatest failures you've seen in hockey. Because I don't know that there's a player that good that hasn't won one by this age already.
I think that's fair.
That's the pressure, right? That if they
but
somehow
that's how
didn't win with Connor, it would be like, how did you screw this up?
But that's
Finally.
what's kind of pulling on their jersey this year to start, even just to start the year. Just yanking on them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The pressure, you're saying. Yeah.
Everyone feels it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows this team now has the goods to compete. 3 years ago, we're having a different conversation about the way they're constructed.
Mm-hmm.
Now they, for the first time, they have 6 legitimate, excellent forwards. That Brown addition is going to be unbelievable.
Is there a comp for that? I'm just trying to think of teams that had high expectations and great players but didn't break through. And I default obviously to San Jose for year after year. It was Marlowe Thornton. And you just got to the point they're not going to win.
We're reaching that stage with the Maple Leafs. But yeah,
maybe. I mean, McDavid is not Joe. He's in a class so by himself. I don't know. I feel like they are very, very poised to make that run this year. If they're healthy, if that guy's healthy, I'm with you. I just think he is. How many guys can he carry on his back? A ton.
Last year, the answer was too many.
Mm-hmm.
Evander Kane hurt, Zach Hyman hurt. You just can't do it all.
Yeah.
And Stuart Skinner suddenly got to the playoffs and wasn't the guy he was in the regular season. Spit the bit.
Yeah. It's playoffs, man. We spend all seasons. We feel like this is how it's going to happen. And then an injury. Well, now it's changed because it's different than it was when they don't have him in the lineup.
So I like the pressure there is huge. And I know Woodcroft's message is like today. Never mind the season. It's just come in and have your best today. And that's probably the best way to do it. It's the only way to try to remove the expectation and the pressure. Because when you start looking big picture, that pressure only mounts. You think about, this is the second last year of Leon Draisaitl before UFA. He won't talk about anything. He loves Connor.
He's not going anywhere.
Well, I mean, it's just that you could see how
they're like brothers.
Every year that something doesn't go right, it just feels like there's even more pressure put on that thing.
I think they're just going to keep banging their heads against the wall until they break through.
Yeah.
I don't think either one's going anywhere. Did you see any of their social this summer?
They're just hanging out everywhere.
Any place Connor McDavid showed up, even if he was doing something promotional, I was like, oh yeah, there's Leon Draisaitl off to the side.
Leon apparently was in Toronto most of the summer with Connor.
Yeah, he did. I don't think he might have gone back home a little bit, but not much.
That's not the news we want here in Calgary, Frank.
I was going to say, Ryan, I think there's maybe I'm kind of with Frank. Where else are you going to go?
No, but where else?
It's cold in Edmonton, but if you want to win,
there's no other place on the planet that the two of those guys can play together.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
This is the only one and only.
If he's leaving,
you're never
choosing
leaving
another band of superstars to play with.
Yeah, and can they afford you?
Right. And so this is what I'm saying though. Like the pressure mounts because those two are signed for $20 million a year. On their new deals, those guys will be signed for $30 million a year.
But the cap will be $105 million.
And so, but my point is like your best financial situation to win the cup for them, cap wise, is this year. Because you're going to have cap overages with that Brown deal for next year. Like this cap wise is their best chance.
Well, the cap overages for next year are going to be wiped out by the increase in the cap next year. It's this year and
dead
next
money
year
that they already have for next year. So that's my only point.
Right. But what I'm saying is that means that the picture doesn't change. It's this year and next year.
Yeah. And then it's the 10 million bump for the 2 raises or whatever it is. Yeah. Like whatever number,
whatever
down,
that is, you're like, yeah. But he's not going to. He already took less already.
How does he feel about that? So that
I think he would take even less. Yeah, like he was at 105 and walked it back to 100.
Yeah.
McDavid looks to me as a guy. He's got all the money he's not going to be
how
judged
much more
by
can you spend?
How much money he's made or how many Hart trophies or any of that. There's only one thing left.
Yeah.
And of course that's where he's the most driven. And yeah, they hung out all summer. They trained together. It's like listening to the Kelsey brothers, right? They've got their podcast, hearing Edelman. It's like, yeah, when we lose, we start training in February. It's like, oh, fuck yeah, that's what you do when you are the elite and winning matters more than anything. Brady, and those guys. We're getting together and we're training before everybody else, and we're going to be the best.
The scariest part about that is once they win one, they might win 6.
Yeah, it really is. In Calgary, that is the fear. It's like somehow let them screw this up. And now they finally
And
have
we're
like
gonna be back
competent
like it's-
management, not like buffoons. It's like, oh, I don't like this.
We'll be back in the 80s again.
Yeah.
What's your view on Woodcroft? Is I mean, his first NHL job they didn't bring in a storied coach to over. You know what I mean? This
Well,
was
they
okay.
did. They brought in Ken Hitchcock.
Mhm.
That didn't
Yeah, I
work.
mean with this hire, but
And
that
Tippett,
see,
yeah.
they didn't do it this time because
They
it
didn't
hasn't
need
worked.
to.
We've seen them. They brought in Pat Quinn and they bring in Hitchcock and that. This was well, he's young, he's in the system. We think he's a good coach. Give him the job. I don't know if everybody loved the hire when it was made.
Why do we keep bringing back all the same guys?
I know.
And he had relationships with them. Like people
He was
forget
their
he was an
assistant
assistant
under
and
Todd
then
McCullough.
went
Yeah.
down to the A. Like I think that was a big part of this, that he wasn't a stranger to those guys. They knew him.
And then he also had the benefit of then developing all the other players that he pushed up to the NHL
Right.
from the AHL. So he knew the stars and then the grunts, and then that makes a pretty perfect marriage.
I feel like that was a really patient play by him. And I don't know that he planned it that way, but to
He
go
did.
away from the NHL to the American League, to get off the charters and go ride buses, like that to me, like that was a patient long-term vision thing from him.
That's what the team wanted.
Yeah.
So when the team says this is your opportunity, this is your path to ultimately get here,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'll do that.
Coming up tomorrow, before we get into the
Tomorrow's
flame
Saturday.
chat. Tomorrow is Saturday. It's race day at Century Downs Racetrack and Casino. It's Barn Burner Race Day.
Can you do that thing with
Playing
the
the
trumpet?
ponies.
It's going to be 12:45 is post time. We're going to be there doing our thing, having some drinks, having some food, getting some money on the
Yelling
I'm
at some
staying.
horses.
Thoroughbreds, let's roll. Barn Burner Heat at some point during the afternoon. It's going to be the Barn Burner Heat, which of course I think whichever horse we bet on is
If there's a red one, I feel like we just have
Is that
to.
what it
Unless
is?
the name's like McDavid or something, you got to pick the red horse.
whatever it is. Yeah. But if you've never gone to the track, if you've never been to the races, this is your opportunity. Come out. It is a ball. You're a degenerate. You've been.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
Frankie
God.
boy, look
So-
at him. He just started itching.
my dad's dad. We've gone to the track and
Father was a mutter.
put the rent down and right.
When I was in high school, there was a track 5 minutes from school.
No way.
It was on the way home. And when I first turned 18, I would catch like the last 2 to 3 races on the card when time allowed.
Mhm.
How'd that go for you?
It was unbelievable. Like when you're a kid and you walk in with $20 and you walk out with 150,
Oh baby.
like you think that is the coolest thing
It's
ever.
exhilarating.
Yeah.
Yeah, thoroughbred racing, September and October, both months. We're almost obviously September's over, but throughout the entire month of October, the thoroughbreds are racing every Saturday and Sunday, 12:45 post time. Admission free, all ages welcome. Grab a drink, have some food, get yourself the lineup card, wager down, enjoy yourself. Get up on the rail and start yelling at horses.
Love it.
Why wouldn't you? So join us tomorrow. We're going to be there. Come one, come all. Love to see you. 12:45 is when things get going. Get there early and hang out for the day. Century Downs Racetrack and Casino.
Is it a fascinator? The fancy hat? Is that what they're called?
Not sure.
You really like the
I'm changing my flight. I'm staying. I'm fully entering the Pinder vortex.
I know you're in it.
Oh,
Once
baby.
you're in it,
I'm becoming a citizen.
mhm,
All right.
it happens. It'll suck people down if they're not
You're
careful.
gonna need to get a line on a liver transplant, otherwise you're good.
Speaking of a line, yeah, I could use one of those and
IVs.
we'll get that going. And
Yeah. So Calgary, you're here, coach, general manager, captain. I mean, so many changes from a year ago. It's crazy to think that, oh yeah, and just do it again. It's been a wild 24 months.
No one wants to come back. Suddenly guys may come back.
for this team. And yeah, there's still obviously question marks about what happens at the end of this year. But as you sit here, I don't know what morale's high.
totally different place.
Morale's high for what that's worth.
I don't know if it's going to be worth anything, but it feels pretty powerful right now.
Yeah.
You could just tell being at practice yesterday, banging sticks on the glass, celebrating goals, smiling. Jonathan Huberto, we talked to him, and frankly speaking, will drop next week. He said for the first time, I think in his life, like going back to minor hockey, he goes, I didn't want to come to the rink.
Last year.
Yeah.
It looked like that.
for the whole team. I mean, when you talk about the potential exodus this past summer that ultimately didn't end up happening, they were so tired, so beaten down that they felt like they had no other place to go except out of here.
I wish Rhett was on for this, and it's not to like pin him into a corner. He's not here, but he's been very, very defensive of Daryl. And
why?
I think because I think there's a lot of blood on the hands of guys that took money and didn't play that hard. And like, he's right about that. But I think that he's absolving Daryl of a lot of really weird things that happened last year, right from training camp.
Well, and I think I agree to a certain extent. I think that there's too much stock being put into the fun element of things. Winning's fun. They didn't win enough.
Yeah, wait till you
year.
lose a few. See how fun it is.
Yeah, we'll see.
But the problem last year was they were like 4-1 or 5-1-2 out of the gate, and it was already like
he was
tighter
barking.
than a snare drum.
Yeah, 6 games in, I remember they were 4-2.
Yeah,
and it was like the sky was falling.
Yeah.
Listen, Daryl's he's a Hall of Fame coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. There's no one can point at his resume and say, absolutely he is.
Will he go in the Hall?
Yeah.
I don't know what the criteria for coaching is, but like, he's top 10 in a lot of stuff, and the games coached aren't that high. Like, he's one of the winningest coaches in the history of this league.
Does the stink of this year? So Mike Babcock was a Hall of Fame coach.
Was he?
Yes.
Olympic gold medal, Stanley Cup.
No, he won a cup on a loaded team and did nothing else.
Setting a precedent.
That doesn't matter
for coaches,
right? That doesn't matter.
I think cups matter a lot for coaches in the Hall.
No, you're saying on a stacked team. That's what I'm saying. Cups, championships. Years down the road, they don't say, yeah, but how good was the team? Did he really coach them? Was it his coaching prowess that led them to victory? No, he's got gold medals. He's got cups, games coached, wins.
Okay.
It's undeniable that he was on a Hall of Fame track.
I think so.
Yeah.
Is he now?
I don't think so, but you do.
Rhett mentioned that before last week, I think, when this all came down. He says, I don't think he gets in now.
And does the stink of this from Daryl Sutter prevent him from getting in?
I think it's different.
He's done more without. Yeah, I feel like one bad year doesn't sink any coach, and also we got to see how it plays out. If they suck again this year, that absolves Daryl a bit, doesn't it?
There's no. I mean, who knows what the future brings? But there's no. Like, there's chaos and there's the temperature and the mood and all of that. There was no going off the rails. There's no instance of wrongdoing, or
there were a lot of.
There was no.
I would say a lot of very borderline.
It's taking a shit,
but there's no scandal.
We talked to Frank every week last year, and it was like you had a very early, clear vibe that things were not good in Calgary right from the get-go between the new star player and the coach.
I think it was the 3rd show I ever did with you guys. 3rd show, 3rd week of the season.
Right. But I mean, it's a list that is a mile long of coaches who have battled with star players.
But what about when you battle with every player?
The coach in your town.
How about the story from Tyler Toffoli this summer?
Well, what was it for?
Did you see the podcast? You know, they're no score, 10 minutes into the game, and Daryl's walking up and down the bench saying, "Oh, Markey doesn't have it tonight.
You guys got to go to Winsport tomorrow."
Yeah, and Vladar, go get ready. Guys are like
0-0.
There's no score.
We're out shooting them.
Yeah, I know.
I
am not defending.
There isn't a smoking gun. You're right.
His methods, but the reason that Mike won't go in if he doesn't is because of this. Is because of what happened in Columbus.
I get exactly what you're saying. I'm just there's a really thin line of what you're talking about. Mental warfare is mental warfare.
Yeah.
Scrolling through a player's phone is an invasion of privacy.
Right,
treating players the way that you do is still mental warfare.
I agree, but the phone thing with Babcock, that's a specific incident that I think that would be the roadblock if he doesn't go in. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, like Scotty Bowman. My guess is he was a bit of a tyrant over the years. You hear a lot of stuff about Scotty Bowman. Guys like Pat Quinn, they were hard on players.
Different time.
Al Arbor, hard on players, but yet they are some of the most storied coaches in the game. Minus a controversy or a scandal, I think Daryl Sutter goes into the Hall.
Okay.
I'm
not saying you're wrong. I just asked the question.
Yeah.
Does the stink of this, does it stay on him for a while?
Well, and I just sort of like the difference in my mind is that Daryl won with a 6 seed and an 8 seed and dominated in those 2 years they won the cup. Mike Babcock won with a team that was probably a Vegas favorite to win a cup. What I think it was almost pre-cap with Detroit.
Nope. 2008.
Okay. So not pre-cap, but it was like, yeah, how many Hall of Famers did he have in the rest? Like he did a good job. He won, but it's like, I'm not convinced that some other coach couldn't have won with that team, just like they couldn't have won gold with Team Canada. I am convinced Daryl was the reason LA won 2 cups.
And
I wonder what Drew Doughty would say to that.
Well, I mean, I was going to say,
or Dustin Brown, but look,
or Justin Williams, or all these other guys.
So when they were out of the playoffs mid-season and he replaced Andy Murray, and they fucking steamrolled everyone they saw that year. Like, is that not Daryl? They might not like him, but you got to give him credit.
Terry Murray.
Thank you. Yeah,
Murray.
Too many Murrays.
Eddie Murphy. Anyway, back to the Flames. They re-sign. They trade to Foley. They bring in Sharon Govich. You might be being in Philadelphia, you would have seen Sharon Govich obviously more than we would have out here.
You're gonna like him.
Yeah, give us a bit of a report card from where you said.
This is the easiest way to explain Sharon Govich. Has wheels, shoots the puck, challenged hockey IQ.
Yes. Because if he isn't, he's a star. If he has hockey IQ with the wheels and that shot, he's a star.
Here's what I would argue. That is the very best player to play with Jonathan Huberdeau.
It's Duclair Light. We talked about
Someone's going to put the puck on his stick. Your only job, bud, you have one job. Shoot the puck.
Yeah. Get open, shoot.
We don't even want you thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start thinking. But he can skate, and his shot is elite.
25 goals, second year in the league. That's not nothing.
So you've got Huberdeau, Lindholm, Sharon Govich.
Now, can you go? I wanted to make sure I heard that correctly. He's the most talented. Huberdeau has played. What was that?
He's the perfect guy to play with Huberdeau.
Yeah. Like you couldn't draw it up any better for a stylistic fit to play with Huberdeau.
And it's benefiting Huberdeau or benefiting him?
Benefiting the Calgary Flames.
Okay.
Both. The type of player he's had success with.
I just thought you said he's the perfect fit that Huberdeau's ever played with.
No, not ever. No.
That Huberdeau could play with on this team.
In Calgary.
All right.
People forget that when Huberdeau put up 115 points and was tied for second in league scoring 2 seasons ago, it wasn't anything to do with Barkov. At even strength, his most common line mates were Sam Bennett and Anthony Duclair. Those are not superstar players, but the fit was key. And this is why we got into it last year, because he's like, he has to play with Lindholm. I'm like, well, maybe he does or doesn't. What he needs to do is be with the right type of player. And they couldn't find out who that was last year because Daryl was pretty stubborn.
On that team, and I'll stand by it. It's fine when you're in Florida, not playing with Barkov, and the points are racking up.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in Calgary and it's a shit show and you're struggling and other guys are struggling, why are you not putting your top winger and your top centerman together? Because neither one of them are playing well or getting results, and the team is suffering.
They hardly tried it. It was another Daryl thing that didn't make sense.
Let me ask you a way more simple question. After being the second all-star left winger, scoring the most points in NHL history in one season as a left winger, why did Jonathan Huberdeau spend 50-plus games as a right winger last season?
Daryl.
There's no... It's a puzzle for sure.
I was like, it was almost like he laughed. Like I said, well, like this year, like maybe you could at least start playing on the correct side.
Yeah.
Last year, Daryl made that comment early in the year about Lindholm and Huberdeau. And it was, I'm kind of paraphrasing. I don't want to, but he said something about Lindholm is our best player and he's got to play with guys that he likes playing with.
And so whether that was actually how Lindholm felt or Daryl was
like, is it a veiled shot at Lindholm?
I don't know.
Is it a veiled shot at Huberdeau?
He's taking
what
a
is
shit.
it?
Yeah.
It was a shot at everyone.
Yeah.
It was him against that whole team last year. It
was sad because we saw it so early. And then the craziest part about last year for the Calgary Flames for me is every single thing that could go wrong did. And they still only missed the playoffs by 3 points. Like they almost lost their way in, kind of like the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
Remember the game against the Blackhawks? Like 10 days left. I mean,
we can't forget that one because that's the worst shift I've seen from Nazem Kadri in his entire career, and
it's
it wasn't
unforgivable.
Close.
Yeah. The one thing though that
I'm not saying that play. I'm just saying that loss.
Yeah. Oh, and it was. I think they went like 1-2.
Who scored 2 goals that game for the Hawks?
Was it Athanasiou or something? No, who was it?
It was someone that's like a total fringe NHL
it was
player.
a guy playing with Domi that night.
Yeah,
as I recall.
And it was like you just had your season ended by.
Yeah. The one thing, to your point, the one thing that could go wrong if it did, the thing that which just concerns me a little bit, is they really had nothing in the way of injury problems. Markstrom didn't play well, but we are led to believe he was healthy.
Only
Tanev until the end of the year, he was healthy. Guys didn't miss.
Unless you count Shillington, but and that's injury. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah. So
if they were very healthy relative to the league.
From game 1 to 82, the guys that were on that team were mostly healthy.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of things go right this year, but if you have 1 or 2 key injuries, I feel like you're back in that bubble spot again.
Maybe.
It's funny, like in this market, I feel so much negativity and just people don't believe in this team because of what they watched and because you're close to it and you can't escape. Outside of the market, I continue to see people that are very smart hockey people saying this is a playoff team.
I think they're a playoff team.
The sports books are minus 200 for them to make the playoffs. On Betway, you have to bet $200 to win 100 for the Flames to make the playoffs. Like that does not match the vibe around the city.
And for good reason, because I think the people and the fans in the city, they pay closer attention. They saw last year when they're playing Dallas and Minnesota, so this is not going to go well. Oh, you beat both of them. Holy shit, let's play Anaheim.
Lose at home.
But again,
it's
a couple more big wins. All right, well, you're going to be able to do it. To your point, then it was that Chicago game, shit their pants. Yep. It's hard. I get why fans are not trusting of this team. I get it.
It's just that I don't want you to give credit to the fans being smarter than sports books. The history of sport is that they're not, right? Like the sports books are more rational.
Well,
than
sports books
are a reason why they exist.
There's a lot of people last year thought that this team was going to be better than last year than it was the year before.
3 years in a row, expectations have been completely missed. Yeah.
But now there are none.
Yeah.
Really.
I'm not saying they're right. I'm saying I get why fans would have a hard time trusting the team until they demonstrate that they can be more consistent and live up to these expectations. It's show me first.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, you want to know the word they kind of kicked around yesterday a bit? Underdog. We're the underdog now.
And the last 2 years they went to the playoffs, people didn't think they were good. The last 2 years people thought they were good, they missed the playoffs. Expectations are a thing. We talked about it in Edmonton, very different, but this team has failed to reach expectations basically back to like 2019 when they were the 1 seed against Colorado.
What will they be this year?
What would the
expectation be?
Well, that's what I'm saying is weird because in the market, people don't think this is a playoff team. Outside of the market, unanimously, it seems. People
not
think
unanimously.
I shouldn't say that. Not overwhelming. The majority of hockey people think they're a playoff team.
What is your expectation of this team?
I think they're 6 to 9 in the West.
So
like
kind of the same as what we thought a year ago.
No, last year people had them winning the cup and winning the division. Very different than last year.
You didn't.
No, I'm saying the expectation.
I'm asking you, what are your expectations for this team and what were they a year ago?
Last year, I thought they were a top 2 team in the division. And this year, I think they're probably the 3rd or 4th best team in the division, but that's probably still good enough for playoffs.
Yeah. You want to talk about safe money with this team? Just say bubble team. They'll be in this fight for a playoff spot. And generally you're going to be right.
But 2 years ago, they won the division. It's weird, right? Like no one saw that coming. Daryl came in and replaced Jeff Ward and they played 500 hockey and didn't look that good. And it was like, here we go.
You know when it
Same
started?
Group of losers and they won the division. They weren't a bubble team. They fucking dominated.
They went through that trough where there was no playoffs. And then 2019, this team's come together. The young studs, look at this, win the division, win the con. All right. 5 games, Colorado. Snot bubbled. Oh man, we really thought this was going to be a good year, and then it wasn't. And then okay, well, it's not going to be. And then it was good, and then it's bad. That
in out.
It's been hard to trust this friggin'
and
team.
that's why I just think that's why the city's the way it is because there's so much scar tissue.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's honestly
that's actually what makes it fun. That's what makes this year interesting.
It's going to work for this team because your point.
They're
they
all
don't
in
have
there.
To pretend they're underdogs. It feels like they are in the city,
and they're loving it.
Yeah.
Ryan Huska, Craig Conroy, these guys. This is in their wheelhouse because I do think they have something in the top 7 decor
Yep.
in the league. And they could have a goalie that's really good.
Could have 2.
They could have 3.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Huberdeau, I think he hits at least 90 points this year.
I'll write that down, Dean.
I can remember it. It's a round
I have
number.
a feeling I might hear about it
Yeah,
again.
you
at some
might.
point. Yeah.
And that's just based on
Pinder said last night if he gets to 90 points, he will have achieved legend status.
No, I said if he gets back to a point per game, like he will be like loved in this city because that's how bad it went last year, and that's how huge the commitment is for the next 8 years.
Well, wasn't it the biggest drop from one year to the next
in the history of the
offensive
league?
production in the
Yes.
history of the league?
Like people have quit on him because of how bad it looked last year, and Frank's made a lot of points of why that was the case. But until people see that, he said to you, like Calgary hasn't even seen me yet.
He said Calgary has not met the real Jonathan Huberdeau.
And you know what made it worse? It'd be one thing if you came in and had that kind of a drop, you also got paid.
Well, that's exactly it.
So not only did the points go away, it's like, well, Johnny left and he had 100 and some, but this guy came in and he had 100 and some. So it's a saw off. Then you also gave him the richest contract in franchise history.
You could see the logic. It was like Johnny didn't sign here. They had the same number of points. Give him Johnny's money. We'll structure it however it needs to get done for Alan Walsh to sign off. He's here, and let's just keep moving. Everything's the same. And it wasn't the same. It was culture shock for him.
I think it was Daryl Shock.
Market, Daryl.
So you got
everything.
okay. So you give this guy the biggest contract in Flames history. When was he used late in games?
You didn't. They just roll.
Never.
Daryl rolls. Yeah.
How do you then turn around and say, you didn't do it this year? Playing in a position you've never played in your career.
Yeah.
In a city that you've never been in, really, except for the odd Eastern West road trip, right?
Yeah. One night a year.
Some people will say,
Then
give your balls a tug. You're a pro, so you're living in a new
That's
city.
what Rhett would say.
Get over
That is
it.
what Rhett
At
said.
some
Some
point,
people.
be a pro and dig in.
I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you that's
Facts.
how he tells the story.
Yeah. I can't. Daryl's a great coach. We've seen it. I've talked to too many people just about how awful the mood and that attitude and the atmosphere was. It was not a good place for people to win hockey games.
It was
or to
not a
be-
good place for people to work.
Yes.
be good at their jobs,
Beyond
enjoy their
players.
time together. It was dark for sure.
Toxic workplace last year.
So
And it's the exact opposite right now.
and I know a lot of people, kids today, they're soft or whatever.
It's 'cause
I
they
don't
are.
I don't want to work in a place where my boss is an asshole and you can't. No one wants that. It can only mean good things. Does it mean more wins? I don't know. I don't know how, even if the team wins more, do you look at it and just say, well, it's because it was more fun. I don't know how many fun victories do they get this year?
Wow,
that they
but how
didn't last
many
year?
miserable
But how
showing
many-
up to work losses did they have?
Yeah, how many 1-goal losses, how many blown third period leads, and again, still only missed
Mhm.
by 3 points.
With the worst season that Markstrom's put up in the last half decade.
What about that? We kept waiting for him to kind of find his form. You hear about having a kid, and we know what that's like.
That's when he did. He found his
Um,
form as soon as that kid was born.
It's like, is he going to get above 900 save percentage?
Nope.
Going to get to
if he gets to
do
900,
it.
they make the playoffs.
Mhm.
Which is crazy because 900 ain't a bar
It's-
for Markstrom.
900
That's a
is
bad
below
season for
league
him.
average.
Yeah.
I know. And that was
You're not asking for the sun, the moon, and the stars. Just
Yeah.
give us like a little something.
And I
And then
also think
Vladar was getting run over by Daryl every other night.
Yeah.
How's that going to work? You can't just be like, hey, call him in. He's not going to
Bullpen.
help you at all.
well, and this year, maybe like Daryl didn't use the farm team. The GM would call up a first round prize prospect. And
What's
he
his
would
number again?
Yeah, exactly. It changed it this year. But he'd ride charters for 2 weeks. And he didn't take advantage of players that were playing well in the American League, aka Phillips, aka Pelche, aka Dustin Wolf. He was very, very stubborn in his entire approach. And when it didn't work, he didn't use the options he had. And I think that's why guys like Connie and Tree were so frustrated because they loved a lot of the guys on that AHL team that could have been solutions.
And you lose.
Daryl didn't use them.
You lose some of those guys. You lose Phillips. Now, I don't know if he's going to be something, but
You didn't find out.
Mhm.
You
why
never found
wouldn't
out
you?
if he was
So you
something.
call a guy up and then you leave him linger as a healthy for 10 days. You know, that was actually one of the biggest, and I think I told this story last year. That was one of the biggest things that pissed the players off last year was that he couldn't even give them an answer of when you're making your NHL debut. You know what your lineup is. Can we bring his mom and dad in for the game?
Yeah.
And it took until one of the players went to Tree Living and said, we need an answer because we're not allowing this to happen any longer.
BS that they're doing to this kid.
Yeah. And the kid.
And then he did what he did after the game. What's his number again? As a way to say to everyone else,
Bird.
Hope you're happy.
And he played him what? What was his ice time?
Yeah, not much.
6 minutes? How are you going to ever find out?
I know.
It's so sad that you had Matthew Phillips, this incredible story, small kid, local kid, 6th rounder, torches junior.
Like that's never happened
He's
here
too small for
before.
Virginia. He's going to be too small for the American League. Dominates the A, and you had all these opportunities the last 2 years to find out what he is at the NHL level. And instead, Craig Conroy has to make a decision this summer of how much can I give this guy? Can I give him a one-way? And you don't even know what he is because your coach was so stubborn that even in 2 lost seasons, you never saw him play more than 3 games.
So there's, and we talked about, I think it was yesterday, the GM wanted to see him.
Yes.
He called him up. So there's that.
And he drafted him.
That disconnect between GM and coach was a real thing. This year, it's more cohesive top to bottom. Players like the coach likes the players, GM, coach, everybody seems to be, it's all harmony. We'll see how it works out.
Man, this franchise has never lost a really talented small guy before.
Okay, yes, you brought it up.
The 4th?
Are there enough goals there? You guys talked to Jason Weimer.
Yeah.
His main concern with the team.
What's he doing now?
He's being Jason Weimer. He's being the best Jason Weimer out there.
Sea Bear.
Leading the league in Jason Weimer.
That's awesome.
Like activities. Yeah, he's good. He's a good
You
boy.
guys would get along.
Good guy. His concern.
I would get along with everyone.
And not everybody. I think for a lot of fans, can they, because you just look up the road, and yes, it's one of the most potent offenses that we've ever seen. So it's an unfair gauge, maybe. But Huberdeau, obviously Mangiapane had an off year.
Mm-hmm. Shoulder surgery.
Is there enough? Are the goals going to be there?
Toffoli gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't even really like register on my radar as like things that could go wrong.
I just think they were so bad on the defensive side of the puck that if you get league average goaltending,
it's 8 points.
How many of those 1-goal losses are gone? Like 10, 5? You missed the playoffs by like you had 1 more point than Florida.
Was that? It was in St. Louis, right? When Markstrom just let in that.
Oh God,
goal.
late in the 3rd.
Oh.
That was dreadful.
But that was in like November or December. Like it wasn't
January,
even.
I think, yeah.
But games like that all the time. That was like the story last year. And I'm not saying it's all on him, but
he had like a 700 save percentage on first shots of the game at some point in the spring. It was just awful.
It's hard to do.
It felt scripted.
Yeah.
It felt scripted. Shot, goal. Of course. It was
shots are 10-0 Calgary. They really are owning the puck. Shot scores. The Islanders have opened the scoring.
Yeah.
Oh, and Markstrom's going to want that one back. Like, holy fuck. How did they do this again?
So with all the, it's so good to reminisce and remember these great memories. Are you very excited for October 11? Let's get this thing going.
I'm excited because it feels different. It really and I know that that's what they're telling you, but being there and seeing it and feeling it actually does. Again, give it 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It might not, but I think there's a chance that we might actually see the potential of what this team was supposed to be.
They start with a big old road trip too after playing the home opener against Winnipeg.
Yeah, they do a lot of times.
I don't mind that group going on the road right away, to be fair.
Michael Backlund, captain, thoughts. And the contract, I guess, because it's kind of...
Well, I thought it was supposed to be Rasmus Anderson.
Well, it depends what week.
That was the week before.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I was a little slow on my news.
Feels like a shot.
No. Long time coming. Should have happened 3 years ago.
That is where we disagree on the show the most, because I've felt that way. And Rhett and Boom have said, what if he's just not a captain? What if he's just Michael Backlund? And why wasn't he a captain earlier? And I thought that was a Darryl thing, but you don't necessarily view him as capital C captain.
I just, if Darryl drafted him, like if anybody would have thought be the guy, so I drafted him.
But they didn't name anyone.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
There wasn't a captain.
You could have put the C on him. Certainly. I just don't. I don't think that tenure with a team automatically makes you a captain. I just view this, is this guy our leader on the ice, off the ice? Do I feel, I just think it's an organic thing. I don't think you can look on who's played here the longest? Okay, well, he's our captain.
I don't think
And I
it's that.
guess in the room, they feel that way. And that's awesome. I hope it works out for Mike. I hope it's great. From the outside looking in, I think he's very nice. He's great in the city. I think he's a wonderful guy. I just don't know if he's a fucking rights. Backlund got me so we're fired up. You're goddamn right, Bax. Let's go.
Let me ask you this.
And not every team can have that. I get that. But
did Mark Giordano have
like that guy? He was more of warrior. He had more of that feel to me.
Why? I think they're almost the same personality. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know Michael Backlund all that well, but just spending a little time, like, I feel like him and Giordano are the same person.
What is we've seen a lot of players come out in the Pinder report. There's a couple, but like a lot of players went well out of their way beyond the like expected complimentary stuff to say like, this was deserved. This is overdue. This is our guy.
Because he was one of those guys leading the charge last year. You want to talk about leading the charge? It was like, we're not putting up with this stuff from Daryl.
And if that was happening behind closed doors, if he was marching into Daryl's office and saying back off, then that's the leadership quality that you want to have in a captain.
Like the Pelche thing. It wouldn't surprise you if that was Backlund that went in and said, this has to change.
I don't think it was him.
I mean, it's guessing, right?
Well, I'm asking if that would fit or not.
I know it wasn't him.
Okay.
But there was a lot of stuff that happened throughout the year that he was like, no more, no mas.
Yeah. And that is
I think the hard part for Rhett, to be honest, is that wasn't the player Michael Backlund was when Rhett played with him. Michael Backlund in his young 20s was naive, soft, always hurt, and probably like deer in the headlights a lot. But that doesn't mean a guy can't change over 10 years and figure out what it takes to be a winner. You're not just born a leader necessarily. Sure, you have your Jonathan Taves, but other guys like a Giordano, like it takes time. It takes mentorship and watching. What does it take to win in this league? What are the habits that we need to have? I think it's tough for Rhett to look at the kid he played with and say, that guy's a captain.
For him, he's been in a room for years and years and have played with different captains, right?
Yep.
So that's whether or not Michael was that then, he has in his mind what it is to be a captain and doesn't see Backlund there, right? He talks about Brian Scrudlin, Jerome, like those types of guys. He doesn't see Backlund, and we should not be speaking for him, but I think it's fair to say
I think that's
he just doesn't see it that way. I think it's less about who Mike was at 20 and more about what he has had who he's had as captains over the years and feels like that's captain material.
Yeah. And I think my point is that he doesn't know the Michael Backlund now. He's only been in the room with the Michael Backlund that wasn't a leader.
Sure. Yeah. Let it work out. I'm happy for him. It was a nice scene the other day.
You like the
family's
deal?
there.
I do like the deal. I don't think there's any risk in it.
Third year would have been scary because that's 4 years to a guy that turns 35 this spring. The 2-year term was key for me.
Perfect. Yeah. And sub 5 million, like you're never going to get hurt by that. You can
we talked about it yesterday. Rhett didn't think the deal was, I said I felt like it was a hometown discount. And to me, that's okay. That's
less than market.
That's less than market. That's you want to be here. That's what you need out of a cap. Okay. It's all good. Nice story. Put a bow on it. It's done. I think for him, it's less about the term. It's the $4.5 million that he sees.
I asked him the day before the deal
it's
he'd
too
accept,
much?
and he said it was 2 times.
He doesn't think it's a bargain. He doesn't think that's a discount in any way. 4.5 is the going rate for Michael Backlund. He might be right.
If you put Red on a spectrum, he is at the other end of the biggest fan of Backlund. He's not a hater, but he's I think the general consensus on Backlund, he would be the other side, not like a pro. More like, the entire 10 years I've worked with him, it's always been like, he wants more.
If it was a 3-year deal at 4.5 per,
what would third year? It scares me because you're going to pay someone who's turning 38.
I know, but I guess to me, it was more about the 2 years.
It's both. I thought it was a win on dollars and term. I thought,
that's why I'm asking you, if it was 3 years at 4.5, would you feel like 4.5's a deal?
You'd say,
then you wouldn't.
Worried. Yeah, I agree. And that's
so 4.5 at 2 years is the same at 3. So it's not the contract, it's the term. where
I
if-
understand what you're trying to say. Like, I thought they got to win on both term and dollar, so I really like it.
So how can it not be a win at 3 years at $4.5 million?
Because he's not worth 3.5 in 3 years. Yeah, I think
4.5 in 3 years.
Yeah, thank you. Like, it's because we are expecting diminishing returns as a player goes 35, 36, 37, 38. And so to pay the 38-year-old 4.5 is much more risky than the 2 years before that, in my mind.
Is there anything else we have?
Are we putting you to sleep there, Frank?
No, I was thinking about just it's the easiest way to like slot in a contract ever. Like a GM told me this, and I think I've talked to you guys about this. $100K per. So like if you're at 4.5 million, or you should be getting 45 points, or 45 points, 4.5 million.
Yeah, Michael Backlund.
Last year's at 56, like you said, probably going to diminish a bit career year, but you can pretty much pencil him in for his entire career to this point for 45.
And the beauty is
and
that
the cap's going to continue to go. Like it just,
his
it's
best
like,
asset is defense too. Like that makes it even better for me. It's not like his offense is what makes them great.
I just don't see any risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I do think it's a bit of a discount. I think it's when Elliott, and not throw Elliott under the bus, but it's 3 at 5.5. It's like, Jesus.
That's rich. Yeah.
Man. Conroy, what easy now. Settle down. And then you hear 2 at 4. Well, yeah, that feels that's
better.
about where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
That's about where it should
He'll
be.
hit 1,000 games early next season.
He mentioned that was really important too.
Did he?
Yep. He said to do it in one city with one franchise, 1,000 games is a big
wasn't
deal.
it Gio like right after in Seattle? Like that was like, am I crazy?
Yeah, I think he was at 989 when he got traded.
Yeah, something
or
like
got
that.
claimed.
Got claimed.
But I just think it fits. There's like and now here's the thing with Backlund is he's changed his mind. And it was funny. He said yesterday, he goes, I came back from Sweden and I, sat down with my wife and we talked, and he said, I changed my mind. And they were like, oh, I mean,
back a little.
Yeah, I decided to stay. And it was really kind of a funny slip of the tongue, but he's now going to become Craig Conroy's salesman. He's the recruiter now.
Yeah.
Do you like? You're kind of already Team Sweden. I don't mind that.
No, I meant in terms of the guys that are in the last years of their deal.
Yeah.
Hey, I did it. Let's go do it together.
Mm-hmm. I wonder too.
Lindholm and Shillington, 2 Swedes.
What the Shillington thing is still. I know I want to be careful how I phrase this because I'm really sensitive to it. And he made a huge jump to come over here, but what's going on now? Like, is this going to come together or is it not?
I mean, this is the question we ask you. It seems like it's crickets on all fronts here.
Craig Conroy said yesterday when we asked him, just here to support him.
Yeah.
Give him everything he needs. And they were proud that he came over here. He couldn't get on the plane last year. Now, I don't have a sense that anything's changed. It's just that he can't get over the hump.
Yeah, it's unfortunate all around. You feel for him. There's obviously something he's going through. The team would love to have him.
And he looks good. Like those videos, like he had
such a tremendous year. It was such a breakout for him.
Yeah.
The Flames have really gotten a shitty deal when it comes to younger top 4 defensemen that are trending in that way. Yusuf Alamaki, knee injury. Shillington, his situation.
Adam Fox, you remember him?
That was so much an injury.
Yeah.
No, but again, bad luck with young defensemen.
It was an injured national psyche, I think is what that was.
Nice. Yeah. Do you snore?
I do.
Of course you do.
I mean, look at me.
Yeah.
The picture of health over here.
I was guessing you snort.
I've throwing it out there. Being a guy of our age, that sort of thing.
I'm not your age.
What are you, older?
No, he's younger than Crosby. Remember? It's the meme.
Someone sent something into the Oilers Nation text line the other day. They said, you want to know how hard hockey writing is? Just look at Frank.
Yeah. It's like being the president. Hey, did you see Obama?
God, he's aging.
Yeah.
Holy crow. Like they must not sleep.
Outdoor dental. It's the Soleil laser treatment. Obviously, no needles, that's for the dental part of it, but they've also found another use for the old Soleil laser, and it is snoring. 2 15-minute treatments, back of the back of the neck, throat, soft palate, put a little topical. Well, I mean, you can speak to it.
Yeah, a little spray zinc.
Did you do it?
I did. 15 minutes. Just that laser goes.
And
It tightens the soft palate.
I'm due to go back in a couple of weeks for my second session, and I've already noticed it's like, yeah, I'm not choking waking up at 3 a.m. as much. My wife,
I've been trying everything. I've done the tape over the mouth, the whole
the
9
little
yards,
jaw thing.
the hostage
The
tape.
ball gag. You've tried it all.
Yeah, I'm
Nothing seems to be
kind
working.
of into the ball gag. Leave me alone.
Outdoor.dental is the website. Yes, 2 treatments, 15-minute treatments. You're in, you're out, you come back, and I don't know if cure is the right word, but it alleviates, it's the snore, and you're getting better sleep. You're getting better quality sleep.
mind your
The people
partner.
beside you are getting better sleep if there's someone beside you. Maybe it's your dog. I'm not sure what it is. Either way, it's an amazing technology, pain-free,
Yeah.
quick,
Yeah.
effective.
Yep. Here's another thing. If you've got dental insurance, most of this thing's covered.
There you go.
That's big.
There you go.
Zips out.
Dr. J. Patel, Outdoor Dental. And of course, they are a full service dental office as well. Dental implant treatment can be scary. They've got that. They use 3D technology. I mean, they're making crowns and stuff.
They got a 3D
right
printer in there that they showed
Yeah.
us. The video is going to drop in October. It's really, really cool. State of the art dentistry is a
Yeah.
lot different than the old.
This is
like,
not
ding, ding,
right.
ding.
I've been saying it for a while. This is not your regular dental office. They are doing things different. And why not take advantage? Outdoor.dental.com. Book yourself in for a consultation or get after it. Do it. I know from my understanding, there's quite a few barn burner folk going in there and trying it out. Good on you. Support the sponsors.
I got to make it. I'm telling you, next time I come up, make me an appointment.
Perfect.
Done. Dr. J.
So cup final. When you're here for the for the cup final, we'll get you.
Did not say that.
Time for the Pinder report. You want to do some Pinder report?
Well, I mean,
What, has he got to leave?
We don't need to. Do you want to hang with us or what do you think?
No, I actually do have to run.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
Let's
Where you
let's,
gotta go?
Bullshit.
let's say bye to Frank. We'll take a quick little break. We'll come
Gotta
back
s-
with the Pinder report.
I
You
got
got to give me a hug.
I got a sandwich down the street that I got to
Oh, yeah.
interview. Yeah. There's a deli over here.
yeah, I got a
Old
little
jokes,
intel
fat
here.
jokes,
No,
ball
no,
gag
I just-
jokes. What else you got?
It's lunchtime. I'm starving. Come on. What do you worry about?
Sources are saying prosciutto's on the menu.
Well, anything. What about Pittsburgh? Carlson comes in.
Yeah, I
this
got one too.
this is kind of a get the band back together. Let's give it one more shot. I know
you
you're
guys are pretending like you're never going to talk to me again. Oh, hey, next Tuesday.
He
I'll
really
see
is
you then.
hungry. He's got to go.
Yeah, he is hungry.
Real quick,
Hangry.
Vasilevsky, Tampa. How much trouble is that?
Trouble. I mean, that's a team that I thought looked really tired last year.
Yeah.
It's hard to bet against a team that has Sergachev, Hedman, Point, Stamkos, Kucherov. Like, that's your core.
Yeah.
But Vasilevsky was such a big part of that for a team that didn't light the world on fire last year.
Yeah.
They got to tread water. And the problem is, if you were to rank all 64 goalies in the NHL, the guy they had as the backup would be 64 and not even a question. So I think their plan the whole time was to pluck a third guy off of waivers from somewhere.
Yeah.
Now you can do that, but is that enough to get you through for the first 10 weeks? Maybe.
The thing about Breezeball on that team, I feel like they will know. I think that's one of the, we've talked about it. That's one of the best run front offices that there is in the game. They'll have a good sense to what goalies are going to go on waivers here in the next week to 10 days as the season starts. And if that's going to do it, then they'll try. And if it's not, then they're going to have to make a deal to get something done.
Big save Dave there, maybe.
It's Calgary podcast. What's their guy? But there's 3 goalies here.
Yeah.
Dan Vladar has been an effective backup.
Got a piece for you
with how he's been used, right? With Daryl at Daryl's hard on backup goalies. They've also got
this is news.
They got Dustin Wolf, who's he's got that arm pump. He's got it's in mid-season form.
Yeah, the
what we
Sellies are
saw
on point.
in Winnipeg. So I don't know. There's 3 goalies here.
He's hungry. He's got to go. We're gonna let him go.
So here's the thing, and here's I think the easiest way to explain where the Flames are at. I think they know that in an ideal situation, moving Dan Vladar is the play. I don't think they've had a market materialize for him, and not because he's not good. It's just that anyone that's had a need to doesn't really want to spend that much.
Mm.
And I don't think Tampa's all that different.
In terms of acquisition
space.
cost or cap space or both?
Well, they can make the cap space work, but it's acquisition cost as well.
Yeah.
That this, I don't know why it is, but this market, for whatever reason, is more down on Vladar, to the theme we were talking about earlier, than the rest of the league is. I think he's a second round pick all day long, like without blinking. And I think 18 months ago, he was a first.
Jeez.
The contract is reasonable, and I think the Flames know that Wolf is ready and could really use to be that guy. But that doesn't mean you just throw out Dan Vladar just to do it.
You try to get that second.
Yeah, you try and hang on and be patient and say, you know what? He's waiver exempt. We have time. Let's keep him starting for the Wranglers, Wolf, and then let's figure it out from there.
I think that's been the story of the offseason, is that the offers for guys haven't been there.
It was a soft market for goalies this
Lindholm,
summer.
Hannafin, Backlund, all of them. Because we talked for a long time. And remember when the Toffoli did, guy's a 30-goal guy's got to be a first
rounder.
and
Yeah.
it's like, a third. That's not what we thought we were going to get. I think that's what it's been across the board for a lot of those guys.
But
with 1
just
year
wait.
left. Yeah, that's what you do.
And that's what their plan is.
Yeah.
But it could change.
Tampa goes on 5
Later
out of the
today.
gate. Maybe they are willing to pay the price, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're fine.
Mhm.
I like the approach, though. I think it beats the alternative.
Well, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to have
He
you.
left his post today for you.
It's been too long.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it. So, frankly speaking, back for another season?
It is. Really excited to get rolling. We'll have Flames next Wednesday. Those interviews that I was talking about. We had Vancouver drop today. We'll have Edmonton later next week, and off and running.
So
And
frankly,
Daily Face Off Live starts on Monday as well.
There you go.
Wow.
Find it where you get your podcasts on YouTube's. Get to look at Frank.
Sorry
that
about
great
that.
studio.
That's
at home.
good. And yeah, Daily Face Off
There's lights in the ceiling.
every single
What
day.
concept.
Every single day. Be well, Frank. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
We're going to break. We'll come back with the Pinder Report and more. Stay there. Back. Welcome back to the show. It's Barnburger here on a Friday. Lots of people milling about. There's a lot of milling
It's
going
as busy as the studio has been ever.
Yeah, we've got Seravallis and we got Ryan Pikes,
Pike bombs,
RJs and Jacks and
the big
Tylers,
boss man out of
yeah.
Chuck.
No Rets.
God no. Yeah, we did. Do we have 2 minutes already? None.
No. He was going to, and then he didn't.
Yeah.
So, but always good to see Frankie boy. He did he say he was coming back for the
Heritage
outdoor
Classic.
game?
Yeah. He will be here October 29, Edmonton.
Which is that's
Coming
going
quick,
to,
man.
I was going to say that is
So Sunday is October.
right.
That's the same month as the outdoor game.
That's the same. So October 29th
basically a month away.
is in October.
And because today's September 29th. So
Jack, can you confirm that is October 29th in the
we a
month of
month
October?
away?
Just give it a quick look. See if you got a.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, confirmed.
thank you, Jack.
Confirmed. October 29th. But yeah,
You've been to a couple of these outdoor games, haven't you?
I was at the one here. Now, was that a Heritage Classic? Or
Yes,
was
they
that an
brand the
outdoor-
Canadian ones Heritage Classics.
Yeah.
The Stadium Series ones are the non-New Year's Day, and then the Outdoor Classic are the New Year's Day ones in the
Yeah.
States. And I
We're
guess-
gonna, we're gonna have some stuff. Obviously, as we get closer to that, Flames Nation Barnburner are going to be doing stuff. Alberta Blue Cross has come on board with us. We're going to be doing some stuff there as well. And now you were at the first one.
I was 2003, November 22nd. I wasn't supposed to go. My dad, who's a season ticket holder, was going to go with a buddy, and then there was a family emergency. And on very short notice, it was like, "Do you want to go to this game?" And I'm in university at Lethbridge. My brother's in high school. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Do I want to go to this game?" Like Oilers, Habs, outdoors at Commonwealth. It was incredible. The only snafu, which I think they've done a better job of, is it was November 22nd, not October 29th.
Yeah.
And she was cold. And she also wasn't being played midday. There was the alumni game with the Habs and the Oilers. And then the sun dipped behind the corner of Commonwealth. Everyone went,
Yeah.
and they started playing the real game. It was probably around minus 25. And when that sun went away, it felt like it dropped 10 degrees. And my idiot brother, he's like, "What should I wear? I think I'm just going to wear skate shoes and jeans." I'm like, pretend you're skiing for a week.
Yeah.
Pretend you're going to Antarctica. Do not wear jeans, you knob.
I remember here people that had beer. You had to drink them so fast.
Yes. So we were in a section, and then there was 4 seats right next to us. It was 2 dads from Chicago and their sons. And they were so jacked. They're like, "It's so cool. This is amazing." And like taking pictures. And it's like, this was a big father-son bonding moment until about halfway through the first. And they're like, "This is too cold. Beer is freezing. How can you live somewhere where beer freezes?" And
Yeah.
they were gone. We didn't see them the rest of the night.
And it's become kind of a commonplace for there to be outdoor NHL games. It's, it's not crazy. That was the first one. That
broke the ice, and that was the coldest one as well.
Yeah.
It was quite something. And we ended up huddled in a concourse by the third, but we almost got through the whole thing. And again, there was that alumni game before. It was a big day.
But between ticket sales and the jerseys and just the excitement, it was clear they had stumbled onto something, which is why we're still seeing these, and we're going to have one in a month.
Exactly a month. And the other thing they've done is that was sort of like, we're just going to host a game at a football stadium. Now it's the carnival festival for a whole weekend vibe in a city. And that's what they've drilled. When we talked to Ozzy Brad, he's like, the city of Melbourne was all NHL for days. And that's what they've added on. It's you don't go to a game. It's a weekend event. It's like going to an NFL game and tailgating all weekend.
Yeah.
That's what they've been great at.
It's like the draft, right?
Sure.
The NHL does a great job with putting on those. When they come into a city to put on an event, the draft or the all-star game or whatever the case is, they've got it nailed. There is with this, you do have to put a rink together outside. And
Yes.
even there, they've gotten a lot better too.
Yeah. And it was not Kelly.
Dan Craig.
Dan Craig, that was the ice guy. He was the Edmonton guy, and he was so good at it. The NHL's like, "You're with us now, and you travel with this traveling kit. You're going everywhere to make ice."
Yeah.
But that was the original one where it was like, how are we going to do this? So they didn't have a problem with temperature.
Yeah.
And are you ready? Because I think I got news for a guy that doesn't like leaving his house. You might have to be in Edmonton.
Oh,
in a month.
geez. Goodness gracious.
I'm hearing from high up places you might be there.
Well, thank goodness for Alberta Blue Cross.
Well, I mean, if you're going to go, you better have some travel insurance. I'll say
We'll
that.
get them on board. Only one thing better than sharing memories, and that is making new ones. Alberta Blue Cross Travel Insurance protects those memories and more wherever travel takes you. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel for more information. ab.bluecross.ca/travel.
I don't mind cool weather, but the beer freezing, that's anything with alcohol freezing, you're cold.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you about because I was at the one here
which also was chilly,
working.
right?
Yeah, if to know that one in Edmonton was colder,
Yeah.
it's like, how could it possibly have been colder? Because it was something. But again, October 29th, we're gonna be okay.
Well, the Winnipeg one I've forgotten about. I was on afternoons. Pat and I went with listeners. I think 20, 30 people out there, and that was chilly, but they're great. These are great. If you haven't, like, it's a bucket list thing, and it's like, oh, it's another one on TV. It's not for that. It's for the market it's in and the teams involved, and for that, it's always a winner.
That's been my thing because we hate everything. Everyone hates everything.
Hate
Hate
that logo.
It's like when the All-Star game comes, everyone hates the All-Star game. For the people in that city that are going, it's an amazing time.
Yeah.
There's stuff outside the rink. All the stars are there. It's an amazing show, and it's the same with this. And not just Edmonton's thing, it's our thing. We get to kind of take part.
Hey, if they're gonna win a game against the Oilers, maybe we'll do it in front of 55,000 people.
Yeah, maybe it'll slow McDavid down.
Maybe can they get him into the wind for like the first and third?
Yeah, it'll probably slow everybody else down too. Slow
Get the Flames downwind. They need a little help there against them.
You want to do some Betway?
Let's do some Betway.
All right, point spread picks. It is Friday. We got week 4 action. It started last night. I think yesterday. I think I like the Packers.
I kind of like the Packers too, but I understood now why all that money was moving on to Detroit, because we kept seeing that line change: 1.5, 2, 2.5. Why is all this money coming into Detroit? Oh, because Detroit's better than Green Bay.
Yeah, they were last night.
I mean, it wasn't close.
Yeah, we were talking before the show started. I was at my kid had a event last night, so I went and watched at a lounge, and there was some other stranger, but a Packers fan watching. And right near the end of the first half, it was when there was the interception, the near safety in the end zone, the punt that was muffed, and then he's, oh, geez, what are we doing? Oh, for God's sake. Like, I don't even know if he knew he was barking out loud. He was just dialed right into it. So it was not the Packers night. So the Lions did cover whatever that's 1.5, 1,
it ended
1.5.
up being 2.5.
It was fine.
Not an issue at all. I elected to, after 3 weeks of playing Deshaun Watson ahead of Jordan Love, who was better, decided this week to go with Jordan. I was freaking out at the half. The only good news was that it was garbage time second half. He runs for one, he throws for another, he gets a 2-point conversion. He actually ends up having a good day, but I was like scared shitless at the half. Like, what? I'm screwed here.
I need to tell you something.
What's up?
I've made an astute observation on your fantasy team.
It sucks.
This will mean nothing to anybody. No.
Okay.
On your team, I just want to make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
On your team, you have Rashawn Johnson.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
Jahan Dotson.
Yep. Rashawn Jahan.
Deshaun. Is that by design? Jahan Dotson, Deshaun Watson, Rashawn Johnson. You got all of them.
I got to find more.
You got to find more. Get on the trick.
Quentin Johnson?
Yeah, find somebody. Yeah, find somebody.
Jahan Dotson?
Yeah, good time. So how'd you do? Because you had both Love and Christian
Watson got to the house, so that made him better than expected. And the second half from Love bailed him out. And the rushing touchdown really did, because those are 6, not 4. So I ended up surviving better than it projected. So that helps. I'm in a favorable position going in. I'm 0-3. If that second half doesn't turn around, I'm cooked. Like, I need to win this week and 2 of the next 3 weeks.
Who are you playing?
I think I have.
It's very important. Stay with us, folks.
Bill? Do I have finger cooking with Bill?
I think I am playing Bill. You've got Beard Science.
Yes, I do have Beard Science. He's got Mahomes against the Jets D on Sunday night. That'll be nerve-wracking.
Look at this matchup.
Yeah.
Jack and his Antonio Clown taking on Rhett's Simply the Breast.
Oh, I love an inter-show week.
Rhett got a quick 5.6 from Sam Laporta last night.
Damn it. I wanted to peel off Laporta. I waited too long.
Justin Fields.
Awful.
As we sit right now, in as Jack's starting QB.
Who else does he have? He's got another quarterback there.
CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud.
I can't do that.
Well, who are they playing this week?
Steelers.
Oh, God. Such a homer. Stroud has been way better than Fields.
He was so good.
Way better than Fields.
Come on.
All year. And then he plays his team and he won't start. You're going to lose. That's great.
Fields is playing against the team that gave up 70 last week.
Fields' team might be worse than that team.
Oh, but I mean,
I agree with you, but the Denver defense should be well rested after not trying for a game. They basically took a bye week, the Denver D.
Even if Fields gets loose for a couple, it might.
God, he's looked bad.
They've looked bad. He's looked bad.
Yeah. Oh, he's got DJ Moore. Now he's fixed. No, he's now just standing in the pocket, deer in the headlights for longer.
That's our fantasy update for you. But yes, Betway, get the Betway app on your phone. Get it. Follow along, play along. We talk about point spreads and all this sorts. That's where you get it. That's how you get involved. Lines are always moving. Check back numerous times throughout the day. Right before kickoff, get in there and figure out what's going on with Betway. Bet the responsible way with our buddies over at Betway.
Let's get our picks. Let's get our picks.
Ryan, take us away.
Say that again. Take us away.
Get us going.
Okay. I love looking at public money versus the Sharps, and these are the three biggest gaps between the two. Tennessee getting 2.5 points at home against struggling Cincinnati and Joe Burrow's tender calf. Vegas against the Chargers. I am a Chargers guy. They can charge their way out of heavy favorites. You're going to let 5 points to somebody else?
So you've got Jack who won't play somebody because they're against this team, and I'm going all in.
Hammering against my
first.
team. If you bet against the Chargers, you made a lot of money over the last 5 years. So I'm going to do that again here. And I'm a little scared about this one, but I'm following the money. Danny Dimes at home getting a point against a Seattle club that's been kind of Jekyll and Hyde. Looked really good and really bad at different times this year. And Danny Dimes, they were getting shellacked by Arizona down 28-0. They come back and win.
Yeah.
We'll see what the Giants are made of at home. That is the Monday nighter. So we won't have a record update until Tuesday.
That Seattle defense is no bueno.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that pick. I think Danny Dimes has a big fantasy night, has a big night. I think he's gonna get those feet going. He's gonna have a good night. It's been tough for the Giants, right? It is. They lose Saquon Barkley. They have really no receivers to speak of.
Waller hasn't been great. I thought that'd be I thought that was such a great pickup. Like, damn, Darren Waller.
And you know what? I still think it is.
Yeah.
But what is it? Wandale Robinson, and there's just not a lot of
waiting.
Weapons there for them. All right, so you don't like your Chargers. For a guy that is a Charger fan, you don't.
Oh, they could win that game, but there's no they very easily could lose it or just sneak by in ugly fashion like they did against Minnesota. So I'm absolutely taking the points in Vegas.
Is Garoppolo playing?
He's questionable, but it sounds like a play. He's on track to play, is what I'd say.
And what was a concussion near the end? Is that what?
Limited in practice yesterday, I think is what it was.
Yeah. And in Tennessee, there's big time concern over the big man.
Well, and it's not just that. They're also working in Tajay Sharp a lot, and he hasn't been bad. So it's not like in prior years where it's Derrick Henry and a duster. Like this kid's a good player, and so maybe that helps Derrick Henry as the season progresses, not wearing down. But he hasn't looked as dominant. And if they're bad, maybe you trade him. Like he's a guy that if he was on the block, like boy, that'd be an interesting. Bring that guy in behind a good O line. Woof.
2.5.
Yeah,
you didn't see enough out of Burrow and the Bengals last week.
I mean. They've lost twice and they scraped out a narrow win. I feel like they could scrape out another narrow win.
Gotcha.
Those are my picks.
Where are you going? My picks didn't put, I don't, Sharps or whatever. This is just, I look at these lines and I like these lines. Atlanta at Jacksonville. Jacksonville was terrible last week. Terrible. However, Calvin Ridley had a big week 1, then so in weeks 2 and 3, I think he's due. ETN is
revenge game for him, right? Because he was the Atlanta Falcon forever. That's a big spot for Ridley.
True that. ETN's been good, and I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be better. It's a -3 at home for the Jaguars, and for Atlanta, quarterback is no good.
No good at all.
It's kind of run or bust. They got Drake London. Their Pitts
just rotting.
So I'm going to take Jacksonville by the field goal. Kansas City at the New York Jets. It's -8.5. It feels like a public pick, but I do think that the Chiefs are going to wax the Jets.
It was 9.5 a couple days ago, Dean. I like 8.5 better. I'll tell you that.
I don't. I understand that Simeon is in as the. I don't know if he's playing.
Practice roster. I think it's still one more week with Zach Wilson. I like that pick.
This just feels like it's going to be a boat race. And Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Tampa Bay +3.5. Love the hook of the 0.5.
Yeah, Mayfield's been good.
Goofy Mayfield's been all right. Mike Evans has been awesome.
Really good.
And the run game hasn't been great.
What are you, New Orleans?
And they're going to go with Jameis, right? Is Jameis Winston going to be the guy?
Yeah.
He's going to throw touchdowns, but he's also going to throw some picks. I'm going to take Tampa Bay also. Revenge game.
Let's go look at that Winston interception prop, by the way. That's a good reminder.
So it's Buccaneers getting 3.5. So my picks: Jags -3, Chiefs -8.5, and the Bucs getting 3.5 points. My record through, we didn't do them last week, but I'm 3-3.
We're all 3-3. That's easy to remember. Yeah. All 4 of us. Jack, let's go to yours and then we'll hammer out Reds.
Surprise, surprise. I'm on the Steelers once again. Houston looked pretty good last week. They'll come back down to earth here. Pittsburgh will go in and stomp them. 3.5 is not, or 3 is not enough points. What were you gonna ask?
Road favorite. Okay. No, I was just
Confident guy.
I like the
Steelers look
confidence. Is
Yeah,
it blind
there's-
confidence? Is
Dean.
it like Rhett's Bills? Are we
Dean.
just going to see Pittsburgh every single week?
They're second in the AFC.
They are
How
second
dare
in
you
the
disrespect
AFC.
them? They are second place in the AFC
True.
at 2-1.
Yeah.
How dare you besmirch the good name of the Steelers?
But is that the parameters? Just regardless, every week it's Steelers.
It will be every week.
Okay,
yes.
good to
I
know.
love it. He's
But
right.
I'm pretty confident in this one.
All right.
I'm with you as well. The Jets suck. They can't score at all. 8.5 is not enough points. And then I'm on the opposite of Ryan here. I think Tennessee, they got blown out by the Browns. The Browns suck. Cleveland sucks.
He's down on the Browns.
yeah,
Is he a divisional
Cincinnati-
rival of the Steelers? He just hates.
Well, they're so bad.
Are they 2-1? Same as your Steelers?
They lost to the Steelers. And you guys all think the Steelers suck.
I don't know if that's the case. I just I like that you think they're really something.
Yeah, winning the division
yeah.
and thinking they're sucking are two very different things. There's a lot of middle ground where we both exist, I think.
Fair enough. But they blew out Tennessee. So Tennessee sucks. Cincinnati -2.5.
All right. Yeah.
Well,
I actually like the look of that pick, but I am following the money. So I'm I guess begrudgingly going with Tennessee.
I like that pick.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they get it. It's Tajay Sharp. I think that they're going to start using him more. Man, their quarterback looks clunky right now.
Yeah.
It's amazing they're still trotting him out there. But yeah, they get Jamar Chase got involved.
Chase did get involved big time in that second half. And they won with how many drops from
T. Higgins
T.
dropping the
Hig?
ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that pick. I like all those picks. Now
What
our
about
friend
retro?
Rhett, who is not here, but he's consistent. Dallas is still an every week pick.
Because he's got Dak as his fantasy
Buffalo is still an every week pick.
because he's a
So
Buffalo fan.
it's Dallas at home -6.5 against New England. I'm always curious what these lines would be if Dallas didn't get blown out by Arizona last week.
Yeah, I
What
agree with
this
that.
line would be.
Yeah, it's probably the full touchdown.
This is, and I think I said it the other day. You kind of assess the coaching matchups. I always love when Belichick takes on McCarthy. So he's got the Cowboys -6.5. He is, look at that, all of us holding hands. Kansas City at the Jets. He also likes the Chiefs -8.5. And a lot of eyeballs are going to be on this game. Buffalo at home to the Miami Dolphins.
That's going to be a great game.
Expected points and just
That line's
everything
changed. It was 2.5. It's now 3.
Yeah.
Like there's money coming in on Buffalo, guys. That intrigues me. Given that Miami just put up 70, I think we see a huge shootout here. Miami's D is not good, and they also can put up numbers at will, it seems. Like I think this is the game of the week.
-3 is where the line sits right now as we do this show. So Rhett, wouldn't
Just
matter if
laying
it was
the
2.5 or whatever.
Could have
That's
been 13.
-3 at home for the Bills. So he's got the Cowboys, Chiefs, and the Buffalo Bills.
Way bet the responsible way.
And that's again not for Rhett, but for us, early game. Buffalo, Miami on Sunday.
11 a.m. Mountain.
Love it.
That's going to be maybe you get 2 screens, you get that game featured, and then red zone on another. You'll be happy.
Or if depending on what you're using, you can do this
You may as well just stay on red zone.
on my little thing there. You can get because you know what, especially on Monday nights when they're rolling out these stupid 2 games at once.
Yeah, you need the 2 screens.
You can split screen on through your. I got the little Apple TV dealy thing.
You got to work at relationships. They're not easy. Like it's always work. You don't just fall in love and it stays easy. I've really been grinding on a 3-hour Sunday window, 11 till 2, just to try to have at least 2 of those 3 hours with red zone, whether that's on a screen in my hand or in front of a TV or at a pub. I'm really working at that. And I'm trying to find the right give to get that in return.
It is hard to pull off. My daughter's ringette team decided that this was the week we should have a bottle drive from 11 until 12:30 or whatever. It's like, I have a truck, I have bottles. They're all at your disposal if you want them. I will not be there.
I'll be in the basement.
I will not be available. So good luck.
We have kid hockey early morning, then kid
Yeah.
baseball. But I've been streaming Red Zone with cooler in hand in one of those comfy chairs at the baseball game.
I'll tell you that the red zone thing, we've talked with
It's
some
so
people,
good.
it's not their thing, and I
Oh,
get
man.
that. I love it more by the week. Are you a red zone guy because you are hardcore, or do you just have to watch your game? Where are you on Steelers or on red zone?
I'm all out. I have 3 games going plus red zone.
Oh, that's so good.
That's the minimum.
I'm proud of you. We started our fantasy football league in 2000 or 2001. I think it predated Yahoo Sports. My buddy was at Princeton and was like, there's this thing called fantasy football. I'm like, I'm in. And so this is an ancient league. When red zone first happened, It was like we were all in a room, like ready, waiting, being like, we've heard about this thing. Because we used to try to do it ourselves. We had the pirate satellite dish at university. You'd write it on all the channels on the pizza box. Someone's on the web like, oh, it looks like Minnesota's close. Culpeper to Moss. And you're jumping around channels. And like they basically, what we were trying to MacGyver, they've perfected. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And I know as it got popular, remember the NHL network tried to do that?
Yeah.
For baseball, there was what, diamond surfing?
Yeah.
So they
Court
did
surfing
that.
in the NBA, yeah.
And then they did in hockey. But the thing is, you can go a long time without there being goals. And even so, when a goal, it's like, oh, okay, so it's 1-0.
Yeah. It's not the same.
It's not the same as a touchdown in football.
Yeah. It's the best.
With games on the one.
That
day.
morning window when there's 9, 10, 11 games, it is the best.
So good.
Pinder report, rip through it.
Have you not done it yet?
No.
Christ.
We can hustle.
Because I'm hungry. We were talking about sandwiches and
hungry
Frank's
too.
going to eat.
God damn it.
God damn it.
Let's just watch the drive-through video and call it a
Want to do that? Yeah, sure. Well, and honestly, we have talked about a lot of this stuff. Yeah, there's like 3 things I want to touch.
Well, I mean, we got to do it because I mean, it's Village Honda.
Oh, we'll talk about Village Honda.
Village Honda
sure.
comes in and says, "Hey, you know what? We love the Pinder report. We want to sponsor the Pinder report. You can't not do the Pinder report."
That's fair.
So for Anthony and everybody, Tanya, all the good people up
Johnny.
at Village Honda, let's do the Pinder report. Village Honda, Northwest Automall Online, villagehonda.com. Used vehicles, new vehicles. There's new one coming in. Maybe it's new in stock inventory every single week. New vehicle pricing, MSRP. They want your business. They want to see you up at the Northwest Automall. Village Honda presents the Pinder report.
MSRP is major, really sexy price.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's a major,
really sexy price.
sexy price.
Yeah, I think that's what it stands for.
Really.
We start with Calgary Flames news. We'll rip through it. Rasmus Anderson, how's this of a vote of confidence for the new captain of the Calgary Flames? Anderson was a candidate himself, saying to Julian McKenzie, in my opinion, it should have happened a few years ago. Love to see it. Noah Hannafin also chatted with Julian, who was doing some good work yesterday at training camp. Here's Noah on his future, one of still 5 free agents this coming summer. It's been great so far. Okay, this is a very different vibe. Remember when everyone was going to leave? Okay, one back, and another guy saying, "Oh, it might be 2." Okay,
and it's not Julian doing great work.
Yeah.
Again, it's not as though Hannafin would come out and say, "You know, Julian, meh."
Well, but the Lindholm comments have been more meh. This,
fair enough.
like, it's all just tone, and we're reading between the lines. But like, if you had heard this in June, you'd be like, "What? He hasn't been traded yet?"
Mm-hmm.
Right? So,
yeah.
And I do think, like to Frank's point, coming back and the air tasting better and loving being at the rink, that was a hard place for these guys to be mentally last June when all the shit hit the fan.
I tried to set the trap there. I set the bait for the Julian Bubbles thing, and you didn't take it. Yeah.
Julian's trying to get in there, do these one-on-ones at camp. The drink in his hand, can't be drinking in the rink, Jules. Freaking lame all over us.
Right, yeah. Thank you.
The lineup tonight, it is a game day. Boy, we've talked about it a lot. What a monster game. Battle of Alberta, preseason edition. I'm sure it's McDavid and company, or it's Brett Kulak and Xavier Burgo. Okay, either way, Dan Vladar will get the start.
And Greg McKegg.
Greg McKegg with an arm for an arm and a leg for a leg. It'll be, as I said, Vladar and net, a rather veteran. Look at that blue line.
Oh, look at
Anderson, Tanev, Hannafin, Oster. That's 4 of your top 6 going tonight. Yubi's in, Backlund's in, Sharangovich is in, Coleman, Lindholm, Dubé, Coronado. That's a veteran lineup, my friend.
Look who's wearing the 23 over for the Oilers tonight.
2-3. Who's that?
I can't see too good. Who's that?
It's going to be a journeyman forward, Seth Griffith.
Seth Griffith? From a Bruin? Seth Griffith?
There's your lineup. 7 o'clock start at the Dome. I know a few Oiler honks that'll be there thinking that potentially Pacific Division final preview. I know huge stakes tonight.
Yeah.
They're gonna miss McDavid.
Yeah, and you'll notice them if they're at the rink.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You'll hear and see them.
Yep.
Bad news for the Tampa Bay Lightning yesterday. Andrei Vasilevsky, surgery. Oh, but don't worry. It's just a herniated disc in his back. Oh, that actually sounds awful, Dean.
Expected to miss the first 2 months of the regular season.
2 months.
Feels like that could be important.
Well, and everyone was kind of already like hedging bets with Tampa, being like, I don't know. We kept waiting for them to flick the switch last year. I don't know that they ever did. And it's tough to imagine this team winning with maybe, as Frank said, the worst backup in the league, Jonas Johansson. So what could they do for cap space? Like, let's see what, you got to find a goalie. This is our boys at Puckpedia. If they send the right people down and go short and do this and massage that and maneuver this, $2.2 million they could free up. Do you know any goalies that make $2.2 million?
I believe I do, actually. It's weird that's the number. Oh, just
look at that. There's Dan Vladar, $2.2 million, and he's starting tonight.
Unbelievable.
If there's any Tampa scouts in the building.
And you know what? Such a nice guy.
Lovely. Very tall.
So polite.
Yes, good nickname.
Manners.
Vladar, Vader. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You just let us know where we need to fax this thing.
Loves warmer climes.
Get it done.
Doesn't mind humidity.
We'll take a 2025 second rounder, Dean. Thank you.
Connie, get it done. Let's get
Go,
Red
Connie.
to text Conroy.
Well, Connie's wife's going to tell Connie to do it.
If you could tell Craig, that'd be great.
Thank you. We'll move Steve Staios, the assumed next GM of the Edmonton Oilers, maybe just a year ago, is
Flame
gone. So he was a both, wasn't he?
Flame great.
There's not many boths. He and Steve Smith and Milan Lucic. There's
Furzy. Glenn Cross.
Glenny was too. You're right.
Schmid.
God, you're on fire right now. This is a heater.
Horak.
Oh!
Was Horak?
No, I don't think so.
Shit.
You're on a heater.
Lombo, Stahl, Jared Stoll, did those
kind
count?
of. They didn't play. They were draft swaps. Steve Staios is not going to be the next Oilers GM.
Laurent Brassois.
Laurent Brassois is correct. He is the new president of hockey operations for the Ottawa Senators. Michael Andlauer, the billionaire, has been tight ties with this guy. I believe they've won a bunch together in junior hockey. He's coming to the big club. And Pierre Dorion, why is the temperature so warm in your office? Sir, did you know the thermostat's right here? Oh, that's you. That's not the thermostat. You're setting yourself on fire. A little pressure there on old Pierre. The rebuild is over 2 years ago.
I don't know.
He's done a good job, kind of, but we'll see here.
They will be, you know what? I'm excited to watch them.
They'll be fun to watch.
They will be fun to watch. And God, if you actually found a way to make people care about the Ottawa Senators, God, good love you.
And Snoop Dogg was
Good
wearing the
on you,
jersey. I mean,
it's true, yeah. Although maybe he's sour now.
As long as you believe Korpisalo is a good goalie, I mean, it's clear they're a playoff team. Yeah.
There was a time we thought Korpisalo was a good goalie.
It was in the bubble against Toronto when he and Merzlikins were basically unbeatable for a week and a half against Toronto. Knocked them off. AL, NL wildcard. Quickly looking, there's only 3 days left in the Major League Baseball season. There's Toronto. Seattle walked off Texas in the 9th, erasing a deficit at home. Jay's magic number was at 2. Could have been 1 if not for that walk-off for Seattle. Those series continue with Texas in Seattle tonight. That's an 8-10 start. Seattle slightly favored. Toronto opens a 3-gamer with Tampa Bay. Aaron Seravalli will throw for the Rays. It is Yusei Kikuchi getting bumped up, not Ryu going tonight. A victory would reduce that magic number to 1. And then if you got a Texas win tonight, it could be all wrapped. The opposite would make things very tense.
October baseball.
Love to
even
see
if you're like, baseball, so many games. I kind of like baseball. When October hits, you can crank up your love of the game of baseball because it's so great.
It is 100% true. Cavalry FC in action tonight, Dino. They are the champs. They've won the regular season, but the playoffs still loom, and they got 2 parties left at home. Go celebrate the fellas this 5th season. They've punched their ticket to CONCACAF tournament in 2024. These are their final 2 regular season games. They are both at home.
Nice.
They will celebrate with the trophy next Saturday. Tonight, it's Valor. Go show the fellas some love. It'll be beautiful. It's Bruce Meadows. The leaves are turning.
Yes.
Goodness, what a night to be.
Kick the horses out. Let the soccer players in.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, just sweep up after the horses.
Yeah.
Watch your step. That'll be fun tonight. Good luck to the fellas. What a great season they've had. Playoffs loom. Going to be good. And Ryder Cup this morning was all Europe. And I mean all Europe. 4-0 in the morning matches. The afternoon matches, I believe, are ongoing right now. Americans don't win in Europe. They're too rude. They talk too loud. You can't be ordering meat on salads. Please settle down, Americans.
Is that a thing? Big thing?
Major disdain for Americans.
It's not a Cobb salad unless I got bacon on there.
You can't order salads in many states without meat and cheese on them.
Meat
You're
on it.
This is not a salad. You've added some greens to meats and cheese.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's a charcuterie with
that's right.
lettuce.
With lettuce. Yeah, iceberg. So it's all Americans early in that one, and finally a couple to go. We will last one actually, isn't it, Jack? Speaking of Europe versus America, I don't think we have to guess where in the world this is. Let's have a watch as a drive-through window goes wrong Somewhere in the world, Dean. We can't. Who's to
All
say
right.
where it is?
There's conflict for sure. In the vehicle. Jesus.
Bang, bang.
No.
What you guess? Where in the world at? Drives the window and it charges people and a
Oh my gosh.
If you said Bosnia, you're correct. Jack. On the jack.
On the Jack in the Box.
That's your Pinder report. Careful in those drive-through
We're going to need
windows.
to have an employee review after this. I mean, who this person, we're really going to need to sit down and go over
I don't know how long you have to sit down. In fact, you could just probably get up and leave.
your employment here.
Yeah, you're gone.
God almighty. There you go. It's a Pinder report brought to you by Village Honda, Northwest Auto Mall, online, villagehonda.com. They're still looking for used vehicles. We've been talking about it. They're still interested.
On
If
the
you
prowl.
got a used vehicle, no pressure, consultation. You could strike up a deal, 24 hours, boom, money in your pocket. They'll treat you fair, they treat you right, come up with a good deal, and then they can load up the used vehicles on that lot. They're doing what they can to earn your business. Village Honda, your dealership for life in the Northwest Auto Mall.
Life.
That's right. That is correct.
Man, do we have a show today?
What a show.
Jeez, you must be exhausted.
I'm beat. God, starving.
You glad you left the house?
Not particularly, because I mean, those guys next door, I gotta go talk to them.
Just get some food in your yap.
Want to tell you about the Greagle.
Mm.
Got to tell you a little bit about the Greagle. Of course, happy to be partnered up with Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
We're going to be out there right away. I think maybe as soon as next week.
We are. There's stuff coming up. Nikki Glazer, funny comedian. She's doing the event center as well. ZZ Top. I think Air Supply is there tonight.
You got a love team?
I think that's Air Supply. Find out tonight. Go to Ticketmaster.ca, get those tickets, and find out if that's in fact what it is. But in the casino, they have some amazing giveaways that they get going from time to time. Contests, and so check out the one they got here now. And they don't want to pigeonhole you. Maybe you're not a car person. Maybe it's not your thing. $100,000 or a brand new Corvette. That's right. So how this is working, and the reason I bring it up today, they're taking qualifiers. They took qualifiers in July, qualifiers in August.
Mhm.
Saturday, another 20 qualifiers are going to go in. So it's Saturday night. If you got no plans, go by the Greagle, have a little, get in there. And then coming up in October 6th, all the qualifiers are going to come in, and someone is going to win. The grand
That's coming
prize,
up. Get in that.
the brand new 3LT Z51 Corvette.
You'd be okay with that, wouldn't you?
I'd be just fine with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to really, given that I don't have any income because of this, I'd have to really kind of convince my wife that the $100,000 is way worse
You know
than
what you
a
do?
new Corvette.
Just drive one of those rideshare companies.
That's
Zip
right.
around your car. Get
Yeah.
paid.
So there you go. This weekend, even more reason to get to the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on the beautiful Satita Nation. The event center and the casino. Lots of stuff. And yeah, we're looking forward to getting back over there, doing stuff
Aren't
with
we?
the over at the stage bar. Maybe get you drunk and dancing on top of it again. That'd be
I
great.
would never get up on that stage bar and join a band singing, especially if I was looking like an idiot wearing a sequin blazer. It
doing
would not
high
happen.
kicks. You'd
I
never
wouldn't do
ever
that.
do it. You would never do it. Have a fine weekend, everybody. We are back Monday. Is there anything next? What's good?
Weekend? Well, we'll see. It's tomorrow, by the way.
Oh yeah, we're
Come
gonna be
join us.
we're gonna be horse
You
racing
already
tomorrow.
talked about it, but don't forget about that.
Yeah, we're gonna be racing horses. Pinder's gonna be on the back of one of those horses. There, you see it. And then next week we're gonna wrap up this preseason stuff. We're gonna get a team. We're gonna make some cuts and get after it because we're very close. October, as you mentioned, begins this weekend.
You got the Dryden Hunt jersey yet that you ordered?
Number 15. When you got that number in training camp,
Simon Jackman
Book
Hunt. It's all with great expectations. Come number 15.
Did he say? Was it Hunt or what did he? It felt like you threw something in there.
Hareem,
Right.
watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth. Have a great weekend, everybody. Support the sponsors. Subscribe and like on the YouTubes. Get the podcast wherever podcasts are sold.
See you tomorrow.
Nope.
Century Downs.
See you tomorrow. See you next week, buddies.